This week on Consumer Chat, we're talking about your car, what you need to do to maintain it for the long haul, some common mistakes people make, and when it's time to see a professional. We talked to Aldo Perrotta from Westside Auto Care, and he answers all of our questions. A lot of our viewers wanted to know common mistakes that people make with their car and how they can make their car last as long as it can. What are like the basics we need to be thinking about?
Your oil changes, your filter changes, and just taking it to your mechanic and having them look it over and tell you like, hey, this is needed, and listen to them.
What's the craziest thing you've seen of people maybe not taking care of their car?
Customers coming in with brakes where the pad has completely worn out and the pad material's gone, the metal part of the pad is gone, and the piston is now trying to stop the car. So leaking fluid everywhere. Yeah, that's always a bad one.
Oil changes can be expensive sometimes, depending on your car. Sure. How often should you be doing it, and where should people be going? Like, should you go to the Valvoline that you're passing? I mean, what do you think?
I think it's personal preference. If you trust them, then yes, go ahead by all means. But a regular oil change will be 3,000 miles. Synthetic oil change usually 5,000 to 7,000 miles. But ultimately, you want to listen to what the manufacturer says.
They always say like on the sticker, by this date or by this mileage, whichever comes first. And I don't know if people stretch it just a little bit. Can you stretch it a couple hundred miles? Yeah,
you can. So that's just a guideline. So if you go 100 miles over or 500 miles over, you'll still be okay. So you want to do the either the mileage or the date. So you don't want to go 2 years without getting an oil change just because you didn't hit the mileage. Okay. You know what I mean? I had a customer do that, and luckily I was able to save the car, but it was bad.
So what did you say the second most important thing is?
Checking your filters, air filters, cabin filters. The car needs to breathe, needs to inhale. So if you don't have those changed out, the car can't breathe.
What makes them congest stuff, I guess?
Road debris. So, we found everything inside, air filter housings. We found, tree nuts from like squirrels or mice, leaves, cigarette butts. Everything. Anything that you're driving over can possibly get sucked up into there. And that's the whole point of the air filter, so it stops that, so it doesn't get sucked into the intake. So it just depends on driving conditions, really. 10, 15,000 miles, you might want to check them at those intervals and see where you're at, because every customer's different on their driving habits. So
that leads me to another question. What is better for your car? Like, some people highway drive because their work is far. Some people are just city people and they work right down the street and they're kind of just driving around the city. Someone once told me that highway driving is better for the car because there's less stopping and starting. Tell me what the real down and dirty is on that.
I think it's a give and take on that one. So yes, stopping and going, sitting in traffic, idling for extended periods of time, that's not good. Car gets real hot, it's putting stress on the motor. Driving on the highway, you got the same thing. You're under a what we call a load, so that engine's working nonstop, which is doing the same thing. The only thing better about being on the highway is you got the airflow going through the radiators and cooling things down versus sitting in traffic, just heating up real bad.
And what's the third?
Just trust your mechanic. Find a good mechanic that you can trust and who's honest with you, and listen to them. Do what they say.
But how hard is that? Because someone like me, you guys are like my doctors. So if you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. But I'm not always happy when I get the bill, and I'm like, oh, well, why did I pay for this, and this? Is there any way for someone with little knowledge like myself, is there any, I'm not gonna open up my air filter and like see what's in there. So like what is your advice on finding a mechanic you can trust?
You always got Google reviews, that's a big thing. So you can read the reviews, see how good people are and other customers' feedback on how they treat people. If a shop is trying to tell you need something certain, you're unsure about it, well, you can always ask who, or ask a friend or call another shop, get a second opinion. We have a lot of people that call us and say, hey, my car was here. Is this true? What do you think? And we'll give them the honest answer that we can.
You got to do the work.
Yeah. But that goes back to finding a place you trust. You know what I mean? So like with our customers, if they say, hey, give us a car look over, we'll look it over and we'll say, this needs to be done right now. This can wait. This will be it's starting to go, but we got time, and then let's revisit this, maybe your next service that you're in. So, we always give them the option. Some people say, yeah, fix it all. I don't want to have to deal with it later. Some people say, thanks for saving me the money. Just do what we can right now, and we'll just do that.
Sounds tell us a lot about cars. Usually what's wrong with it, unfortunately. What does it mean when your wheels start squeaking?
You mean like the brake squeak?
I think so. I mean, I don't really know the difference, but if your wheels are squeaking, do you need a mechanic or professional, and maybe there are a couple things that it means. You tell me.
Yeah, so you get a few different sounds that will come out of brakes. Okay. Some, if the pad material is a little hard, you'll get like a high-pitched squeak out of it. And it doesn't necessarily mean the pads or brakes are bad. It's just, going through a hard spot on the material.
Okay.
A real loud squeal would mean you're probably hitting what they call a squeal tab. It's basically the sensor, the warning thing to tell you, hey, your brake pad material is low, so you need to get it checked out. Okay. But that's a real high-pitched squeal, so it's two different noises. One's very loud and annoying. The other one's just kind of like, it's just making some noise.
So can you usually tell what's wrong with the car by the sounds it makes?
Yeah, I mean, since I started doing this, you had to be conditioned to listen for noises when a customer comes in and says, oh, I got a noise going over bumps. And that's all they can tell you. Well, from experience, usually I can drive it. If I hear the noise, I can say, okay, this is a strut, or hey, this is a sway bar link, or something like that. It's just conditioning, just like anything else.
Okay, but you do fun stuff too. Yep. You don't just do everyday maintenance. You get to work on some really nice cars that are right behind us.
Yep.
What do you participate in? What do you help people participate in?
We do what they call half-mile racing. There's an event called Shift Sector. So they do from a dead stop to a half mile. The fastest time wins. So the cars that we're doing are going about 210 mile an hour from 0 to 210.
What kind of cars are these, and where did that interest or curiosity, I guess, come from for you to do that sort of stuff?
Well, who doesn't like going fast, right? I mean, so it's an adrenaline rush. These cars, one is a Lamborghini Huracan.
How much does that car cost?
If you were to buy it new, probably around $250,000, and then with all the upgrades, you're probably another $150,000 into that.
So it's an expensive hobby.
Very, very. And it's not cheap to fix stuff either.
I believe that.
Yeah. From the factory, they come, naturally aspirated, which means no forced induction. This one's upgraded with forced induction.
What does that mean? What does forced induction mean?
This is it has what they call twin turbos. So it has turbochargers on it, which instead of the engine sucking in the air, these turbochargers force the air.
Okay. So you're going real fast, in other words.
Yep. So that one's, I think, about 1,400 horsepower, that one is.
And so how fast could that go if you really made it go as fast as it was capable of?
At least on the very top, 210 mile an hour plus.
We talked a little bit about this. What is the pros and cons, whether you have a race car or a regular car, of going to a mechanic that's referred to you, maybe local like yours, rather than your dealer?
I think with a local shop, you get that, family-friendly type service. Like, I don't look at my customers as just money. We build a relationship with them, and I think of them all as family. And when someone new is referred to us and they come in, I think of them as family. I've gone as far as when people broke down, on the weekend and have my number personally, I'll run out, stop what I'm doing, and help them just because they're my customer. And that's the type of service that we give. A dealership, you're not going to have that. You're just not. I don't think there's that personal connection, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go over and above. Like, we still take customers home. If someone's like, oh, I have no one to pick me up, we'll give them a car, or we'll take them home and then go pick them up when the car's ready. We have some customers that have 3 generations of families that are, grandpa, their son, and then their kids when they start driving, and then they push their kids to start going to us when they turn 16 and start driving. So it really is like it's like a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other tips for people out there that are not as car smart as you in terms of taking care of their vehicle for the long haul?
Number one is find a good mechanic and trust them. Trust what they say, and do what they're telling you to do, because ultimately that's going to be, the thing that keeps your car running the longest.
Yeah, just like you listen to your doctor, listen to your mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the same thing.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing
problem.
this today.
No problem.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.